So, you already saw in the thumbnail. You know what that is. If you don't know what that is, go ask me in the comments. But it's about to get real because this is a response to King Ace on his video about inspiration versus copying and does originality still exist. And he made some really good points about Toriko copying One Piece and how Toriko went its different way and then how Fairy Tail copied One Piece, and I'm just here to edit it. So first of all, let's get into the dictionary term of inspiration. Now, inspiration means to be inspired or excited to do something and become completely imaginative, and the synonym for that is originality. Now, when you think of inspirational, you think of inspirational quotes, you think of inspirational things. When we think of inspiration, usually what it's taken as is, oh, okay, I saw this guy, I saw what this guy did, and it looks cool. I want to do something similar to it, but I want to make my own different way. Honestly, that is not how inspiration works. And how inspiration works is you look at some guy's work, or let's take for me, for instance. If I were to make a light novel and I was to try and inspire it off of One Piece, I would watch One Piece. However, I would look at how good the story is, and then I would try to make my own story out of how good I thought how One Piece was. Now, when you think when I mean now heavily inspired, that's a whole different story because let's take Yu Yu Hakusho and Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. Even though they're made by the same author, Togashi, you could see that Togashi went back into his other work and he was inspired by Yu Yu Hakusho to make this similar version of Hunter x Hunter. Because as you see that right there, he was interested in his series himself so much that he decided to make another one and just make another good story. And then copying is when you actually take a series and you use the same elements that it has. Like, let's take Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, for instance. All right, no, let's take Sonic and Dragon Ball Z. You have Super Sonic and you have Super Saiyan Goku. That is an inspiration. No, it's a coincidence. But that's sort of copying because when you start to use the same elements, and even if it has the same setting, that's the jury's still out on whether that would actually be inspiration or copying. But then when you're copying something, you're using like the same vibe that it gets. Like, let's take the Rolling Girls and then let's take Kill la Kill. You get some vibes from that, but then they're two completely different series. And from that, I would probably have to say I would probably say copying because you sort of just get the same vibe. It sort of feels like it's the same setting. But you can debate me about that too. And then when I'm thinking about copying somebody, this is where people's so-called inspiration comes from. Let's take Testament of Sister New Devil, for instance. As if you've watched that series up to episode 5 already, you can see that they've copied a lot of material from High School DxD and Date 8 Live, especially with the opening, and with Date 8 Live, that is. And I'd have to say that that's copying. Even though that you've tried to make your own story and you've tried to make it even better, it doesn't matter how better it gets. Even if it starts to derail off to something else, that is when the originality kicks in. If you're just trying to make a template, that's still copying no matter how you see it. And I guess I'm saying this all to say that originality does still exist, but originality only happens after a matter of time. Like, you can't now in back in the 90s, that was when originality was just completely off the bat. But now it's sort of hard to come up with new original ideas because you've already thought of it, but then somebody's already made it. There's always going to be that light novel or manga out there that's already made your idea. So you try to look at that and you try your best to work around that loophole. You try to find a loophole around it trying to make your story. And then once you've succeeded in that, you've been actually able to look at it as inspired. You didn't copy anything. You sort of copied the same template that the series has, but in the end, you made your own original thing. Like, let's take the only thing I can think of that's been original so far is either Death Note, Future Diary, and Parasite. Those are the most recent animes that I've seen that have actually been original. Because with Death Note, you have this guy. It's still a high school setting, which I wouldn't really call that copying, but it's just been a really good trend in the anime and manga industry set up by other mangakas. studios. But with Death Note, you have a high school kid who finds a notebook that can kill people with it, and he thinks he's got that. That's when it comes to stuff like that. When you think of something out of the ordinary that doesn't include all that magic and stuff, like I get it, a bunch of people like action shonens, but there have been so many action shonens and action series made that it's sort of hard to make your own original one because all the superpowers have been taken, all of the power ups have been taken. Mostly a bunch of the characters have been taken. So when you always look at the shonens, you're always looking for these particular things, and if they don't have those particular things, this is where originality fails because it doesn't look interesting to you. You're just gonna drop it. Now, it only takes a good people to have the analysis to see that if it's original, it's good. And with Boku no Hero, I'm getting some. I get Naruto vibes every time I see this. You have this kid who's in school, who's the lowest of the lowest, but he's able to get this high power, this high favor with this other person. So in a way, original copying and inspiration, it needs to exist in order for originality to exist. Because once you have the copy, once you have your inspiration and your copying put down, then your originality can flow. Because nobody now in the industry can start off completely original. If they do, they have. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. Nobody in the anime industry is able to be original. Well, few and pull it off successfully because I've seen a bunch of original animes that and mangas that have been created, and it hasn't really got the credit it deserves. And a bunch of light novels go with that too. Like let's take Log Horizon for instance. It was built off of I wouldn't say it was built off of Sword Art Online, but it was really original. Nobody died. It wasn't a complete romance story, and I honestly think that it's underrated because Log Horizon deserves more hype than it should because it's original. Like it's still a video game. You can get that from Point Hack Quantum, but at the end of the day, it's original. So that's just my thoughts on if originality still exists and what is with inspiration versus copying. Tell me in the comments what you think about originality as a whole, and I'll have to see your opinions because I really want to discuss about this. And that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you guys like the video, be sure to comment, hit that like button like a soul something, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more anime reviews, discussions, and gaming if you guys liked it too. And until we meet again, see ya.